The objects in Alaska and Canada are in pretty remote terrain, ice and wilderness. The object over Lake Huron now lies in what is probably very deep water.
With the destruction of a large Chinese spy balloon and the shooting down of 3 objects over North America using Sidewinder missiles, it's obvious the Biden White House is not going to tell the American people what this is all about.
There was a very real potential risk to civilian air traffic.
There was a time when silence like this from the government on national security-related events was accepted as routine. We are past that. In fact, right now, the government's credibility is in free fall.
When it comes to these higher altitudes, are America's borders secure?
The president takes, as I said earlier, he takes our national security extremely seriously.
Across the entire post-war period, through the Cold War's nuclear standoff with the Soviet Union until now, the U.S. national security community's first instinct has been to protect sources and methods of intelligence gathering. But today, our national security goal is unclear amid active threats from Xi Jinping's China, Vladimir Putin's Russia, and the mullahs nuclearizing Iran.
The president, through his national security advisor, has today directed an interagency team to study the broader policy implications for detection, analysis, and disposition of unidentified aerial objects that pose either safety or security risks.
This new airborne object study group comprises the Pentagon, Federal Aviation Administration, which reports to Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, and the Department of Homeland Security run by Alejandro Mayorkas, the least credible official in the executive branch. We need help.
Reports that say that something hasn't happened are always interesting to me because, as we know, there are known knowns. There are things we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there are some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know. And if one looks throughout the history of our country and other free countries, it is the latter category that tend to be the difficult ones.
The past week's most notable example of an unknown unknown was the remark by the head of the North American Air and Space Defense Command, General Glenn Van Herk.
I haven't ruled out anything at this point.
We may forgive the government for not knowing what to do beforehand about the unknown unknowns, such as the arrival of E.T. And who knows, if he's here, maybe he can help. What is less defensible and now wholly indefensible is the government in power offering no clear strategic policy for such a long-standing known as the China threat.
The Chinese government steals staggering volumes of information and causes deep, job-destroying damage across a wide range of industries. So much so that, as you heard, we're constantly opening new cases to counter their intelligence operations, about every 12 hours or so.
Add to this the building of military bases in the South China Sea, the takeover of Hong Kong, and fighter jets flying over Taiwan whose capture is an explicit goal. Then there's the prevalence of Chinese surveillance through U.S. culture.
Is it appropriate for you to be on TikTok when FBI says it's a national security concern?
Let me say this. We use TikTok on one device that has nothing else on it.
The balloon incursion should be an opportunity for the U.S. president to level with the American people about the military challenges and economic sacrifices of answering this threat. But he won't.
Are you vulnerable on this issue at all because of your son's business dealings in China?
No, I don't believe so at all. My son's business dealings were not anything with everybody that he's talking about, not even remotely, number one. Nothing to do with me, number two.
The larger problem is the modern Democratic Party won't spend what is needed to rebuild U.S. military assets equal to the current global threat. Their strategic priorities are climate subsidies, transfer payments, and ultimately a massive taxpayer bailout for Social Security and Medicare. We aren't being attacked by an unknown unknown from outer space. We're under pressure from the known knowns of China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. Americans will have to live with the Biden silence because help cannot arrive for 2 years.
Should the public be hearing from the president directly on this?
We have been, I think, as transparent as we can be.